So.
That looks fine.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Are we zoomed in?
We are.
Perfect.
We are. Okay.
Oh, we've already got a couple of participants online. That's great.
Oh, this is so exciting.
The participant number is climbing. Good morning, everyone.
All right. Okay.
Ron, so that's great.
Make sure we're all good.
We're all good here.
Hi, people.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, wherever you are.
Well, I know
whatever you're up to. Thank you for
and
joining us.
people from across Canada already. Yay, people.
Thank you for joining us. The participant number is climbing. Thank you for zooming into the webinar today.
Yes, good morning.
Appreciate this. And we'll start in about 120 seconds just to get it going. And we'll begin with that. That's great.
Pop that in right away, the optimize.
Yeah, let's do that.
So that I can, make sure that's there.
Optimize screen
and
share.
I'm just going to share this little guy and just let me know, you guys, if you can see it or not.
Just put it in our chat if that's visible to you. We're just testing the equipment today. So
where's the, oh, now what did I do?
There.
Oh, there.
We got a chat. Perfect. Perfect.
Yes,
Thank you very much,
okay.
Sabrina. Appreciate that. It's just, we have to just set everything up before we begin.
All right.
And there's the stop share. So that's how it'll go. It'll go stop share and then.
Yeah. Perfect. I had to remember because it's been a few webinars since I did a screen share thing.
Yeah, you're hosting that one today. Okay.
I know, you guys. Oh my goodness. Okay, great. And you can hear us okay, I'm guessing. If you can't, oh wow. Adjust my outfit. I need someone here to help me with that next time. All right, you guys know how it is, right? You think it looks fine and then you see it on camera like, oh, that's what was going on. So yeah. All right, let us know in the chat if you can hear us both. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great. And we'll go through the logistics in about a minute here.
Yes.
Because that's where we're gonna start, so.
Yeah, like the official start. Yeah.
For sure.
Hopefully you can hear us okay.
Oh my gosh, the attendance is climbing. We got a 20 on.
Right on, you guys.
That is excellent. Thank you all for joining in today. It's on our Friday. Must be afternoon for some of you. It's 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So we're going to set the clock. We're going to set the clock now to begin. And yeah, good morning, everyone, at least out here in Alberta. Welcome to the webinar today. We're going to be hosting the creating step sequences, right? And I think that's where we had the intention on that today of the creation part of it, because I think now as it's evolved, we had this conversation yesterday actually on our Q&A live. Over the past 15 years, at least in this system, there's been a huge evolution and transition of step sequences per se, yes, but a whole bunch of elements. So what we want to do is we want to just go from the perspective today of the creation, how to create one. We'll go through a number of different things that you plan to share with regards to being the choreographer. You're going to be leading a lot of this today. I'll help facilitate and host a lot of the discussion as well. So that's going to be our intention. So today what we'll do with this is if you have a question, okay, during the course, because we're going to be on for 60 minutes, if you do have a question, please put it in the Q&A box, okay? And as we kind of roll this out, what we'll be able to do is hopefully get to some questions, answer them to the best of our ability. And of course, just general chat, we might ask you guys, can you see the screen? Can you, because again, I keep on saying it, one of the things we've learned from the Zoom thing is we really need audience participation in terms of if you can see that, great, because we don't see what you see per se. So we want to make sure we get that correct. So anyway, without further ado, thank you very much for joining us today. And I'll let Jadene take it over for the Creating Step Sequence webinar.
Well, thank you, Ben. I really appreciate you being here with me because, you know, although I'm the one that creates the step sequences with our clients and with all the choreography, I always appreciate your eyeballs on the projects and of course your support today. And I know that you're going to be able to man the questions and stuff like that because you know I'm going to get creatively lost in the magic of step sequences. So, all right. I want to thank every single one of you who is attending today. And if you're watching this later, you know, we always put this up on YouTube. Just the fact that you're willing to participate in the conversation is your first step. So it's not called a step sequence for nothing. That's right. You have to take steps to become good at both skating step sequences, choreographing step sequences, and understanding or evaluating step sequences. So what my intention is today is to demystify it a little bit for you guys. And as coaches, give you a context to step into when you're trying to create the step sequence. Because I hear you. It's overwhelming. It's a lot. It's detailed. You're trying to watch in real time going, how do I count all these things at once? So I wanted to take this opportunity, which was done by request, actually. There were a few coaches that just said, hey, we really want to talk step sequences. And I listen. I try to listen to what you guys are saying. And I thought, you know what? If I was starting out today coaching and I hadn't been doing this as the system evolved, it would be kind of frustrating, because even as we'll talk about later today with the new rules as they come out every year, there are layers of assumption. They kind of assume that because you're reading the updated rules that you totally understood last year's rules. And that's a little bit frustrating for newcomers and even people that have just been trying to get better at this kind of stuff. So I wanted to start with that, create a strong context for you guys, and have a lot of fun while doing it, right? Any thoughts?
Well, no, and I think that's great. And a lot of the things too is it's actually a very interesting conversation too, because it's a technical mark, right? It's a technical score that you get on this particular element, right? But of course, underlying that too, it's more the choreographer that creates at least I know that I delegate a lot of it to you, that creates the technical value on this too, because there's a lot more than just say, I'm just going to throw it out there right now for going to level, getting the turns. Is it on the music? Is there the GOE? Does it cover? Like, is there a lot of aspects to it? So that's where I think the conversation is going to be really great today. And it's going to be ongoing in terms of where step sequences lead into the future. So yeah, I think it'll be great.
Absolutely. And I think that, don't look for the answer, right? Don't look for a formula, but be open to the steps that you can take that will help you get there. So many of you may have noticed I am wearing my party shirt. So this shirt I literally bought on purpose to have fun in. Now, why would I wear a party shirt for the step sequence webinar? Well, in English, we call the step sequence the footwork. Now think about that. Break that down for a second. Footwork, work on your footwork. Doesn't that sound like a lot of work? I know. And, I was under the impression that everybody, even translating it to any other language, would be working as hard as we were. Then, one summer, I got to do some skating with people who speak French. And I said, your footwork. And they looked at me like, what do you mean? It's called jeu de pied. And because I speak French, I was like, mic drop. Pardon? Jeu de pied? Jeu means game. It means game. They're calling it, the French people that are skating are having fun and playing with footwork. They're having a game about it. So that's the first thing I want you guys to think. If you're English speaking, stretch your brain around that for a second. Maybe we can park the idea that it's a job and it's so much work and it's so hard, and embrace, which I love, this French idea that it's a game. And it's like, oh, what can I put together with this? How can I create the rocker that goes into the counter, that goes into the bracket, looks really cool? That's number one. So remember my party shirt. Next time you're going to do your footwork, right? It's actually a game. Make it playful, make it fun.
No, for sure. I agree. Sounds great.
Yeah,
loving it.
Honestly, I swear that was a game changer for me. So I wanted to start with that context. Now, I know, I wish I could hear like you guys' thoughts on that. I feel like a lot of people are going to be like, whoa, that's really cool. At least I did. I thought it was a really cool context. So it's made it so much more fun for me. And I've thought of it as more of a challenge and an exciting thing to try to create versus the work aspect. So hence the party shirt. All right. Yeah. See, there's some comments. Totally fun. Awesome. All right. Okay. So for today, we're going to work backwards through the levels, okay, of the footwork. And I'm going to try to give you a developmental point of view, okay? So this is the thing. When we're working with skaters, a lot of people try to tell me, okay, well, I want you to choreograph a level 3 step sequence, right? You've heard this? Yes. I want you to choreograph that. All right. Now, that's like me saying to Ben, I want you to make sure that child by the end of the lesson does the triple lutz, not the single. Look at level 3, triple lutz. What's he gonna say to me? Well, let's see the single, let's see the double. And I go, oh, no, we're not doing single and double. No, we want triple lutz today. What's my problem here? I don't have a foundation, okay? I don't have a foundation. So in order to build into a level, right? if you're going from pre-juvenile, and then, which is only spirals, and then you're going into juvenile, which is your level B, and then to pre-novice. Whoa, wait a minute, we can get level 3. So people think, okay, well, I'm going to pre-novice now, I get level 3. Guys, you're still building up the steps in the foundation. It's just like jumping. So everyone understands that if you put a double axel in a solo, right, it doesn't mean that the skater A can do it. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. And then here's the other important piece. On the day, in the moment, with the music on, in the competition, they may or may not land it. Okay? Everyone understands that. So even if you choreograph a level 3 step sequence that's intentionally designed and it has everything in it, the skater has to complete every single piece of that correctly in that moment, on that day, in front of that panel, in order to receive that call. So any thoughts on that from a technical point of view?
Well, no, and I think that's very important to mention, because there's a lot of technical criteria that goes into if you are building for what the bullets are for the level 3, or even the level 2, right? Or even level 1. I mean, that's where a lot of that comes from. So I think that's very, very important to mention, that the foundation work of that is critical to building on that. So I think that's very important to mention.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's just set that stage first, that this is a developmental process. And when you're creating footwork or jeu de pied, the game with the skater, the goal, and this is my thought over years of working with skaters, consecutively over time, the goal is not necessarily that piece of footwork, but the goal is to create an understanding and develop the skater as a true good skater. Okay? So we're going to start at the beginning, and I've lined this up in a document for you guys to see, where I have my developmental mindset right beside where I'm going with the levels, okay? So I'm going to share the screen one more time. All right, so let us know if you can't see that.
Okay. You can see that. That's great.
All right, awesome. So now you might think, well, Jadene, the top is the bottom. You've inversed this. Yes, I have, because this is not where you start, you guys. This is where people think you start. People think, oh yes, I'm in the new level. Boom, I'm going to do my clusters. I'm going to do my turns. It's going to be difficult. I'm going to have 18,000 things in there, and I'm going to get my level. Well, as we just mentioned, you need a foundation. So let's go down here to begin with, okay? Let's go down here. Vocabulary and foundation is my developmental side, okay? So I'm on the development chart. Here is what I'm focused on, is the vocabulary of skating. So when we talk about difficult turns, we're going to mention the magic 6, okay? Now here's how to remember this very easily. There are 6 jumps in skating, 6 listed jumps, right? 6, axel, sow, well, axel or waltz jump, sow, toe, loop, flip, lutz. 6, it seems to be a magical thing. We also have 6 options for the listed difficult turns. So we've got rocker, counter, bracket, okay, got all that, loop, twizzle, and then choctaw, which is a difficult step, okay? So it's just kind of that magic 6. Now, whenever you're working with the skater, you want to start right over here with their vocabulary and understanding and foundation of those difficult turns and steps, okay? So before we put them over here and look for that level 1, right, and get those compulsory amounts of turns and steps into the step sequence, the skater has to actually understand what the turns are. Now, I'm gonna stop share for a moment, so we'll come back to this chart later. So there's a total difference between knowing something in a context and knowing it all the time anywhere you go. So my famous little example that I always use with skaters to make them understand this, because they go, well, yeah, I've done my skills test and I know what a rocker is. I'm like, good, go do a right back inside rocker. And they're like, which way do I turn? We've all heard this.
That moment.
At stroking, which way do I turn? Well, that shouldn't be the question, okay? That always tells me that we don't really know the turn. We just know of the turn. So let's say you go to a party, again, party shirt, right? I'm at a party, I meet a bunch of people, and then later I'm like, hey, Ben, I went to this party, and he's like, okay, cool, yeah, who did you meet? And I'm like, this guy, I think his name was Chris or Cody or Kurt, or It was a C. His name began with a C. Do I really know his name? Do I really know his name? No. I met him. I can tell you he was 6'4", really tall guy. He had brown hair, blue eyes, but I don't really remember his name. And that is the key. You either know the person, you know the step, or you don't. So if I know what a rocker is, I should be able to go out on any ice surface at any time of day, even early morning, and be able to do it on command and understand it. And that the coach can go, we're going to start with left forward outside rocker. Boom, got it. Left forward outside rocker. It's a knowing. It's a knowing. Just like you know your jumps. You're not like, Salcal, wait a minute. Was that I know, it's the one with the toe pick going. No. You can't not know this stuff. It's a skating vocabulary. Now, throw your thoughts into the chat on that. Let's start with that. Some feedback. Ben, what are your thoughts?
No, but I think that's true. I think that, it goes back to the vocabulary. It's really funny. You just said left forward outside rocker. Well, just in my brain, because I've done it for so long, I just performed one on that kind of half circle in my head.
In your mind.
Just because, that's just from doing that for so many years. But I think that's important to mention from your side of it too, is that there has to be that foundational vocabulary of, okay, these are the specific turns, and there's, you should be able to do that on command if you want to insert one in that creative process. Does that make sense?
$1,000,000%.
Okay.
$1,000,000%. So you guys, as coaches and as skaters, if you're confused about it, now, I'm not saying anyone's confused about it. I'm just saying I've run across a lot of skaters that were confused because they maybe learned, let's say, one counter in an exercise, and they remember it in that moment, or if they're doing the skills exercise, but they didn't really know it, right? So we have 2 feet, right? And we have 4 edges to work with. So forward inside, forward outside, backward inside, backward outside. So if you multiply all that together, you get 8 turns. Sorry, I did 4 with my fingers. 8 turns in every category, okay? So if you have 6 things, right, times 8, that's 48 options. So did I do that math right? I think
6
so.
times 8 is 48.
Thank you. Awesome.
At least the last time
Check
I
in with
checked.
my calculator here. So here's the thing. Once I know those 48 things and I understand them, guess what? Hey, you may be better at right back inside rocker than you are at right back inside counter. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if you understand what all of those turns are and can actually remember them on command, anytime, anywhere, then your foundation is there. Now we can get creative and start to play with how we put them together. I hope that makes sense. All right. Catherine is saying, my understanding is that the turns must be recognizable, clean, and on edges. 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. Right?
That should be highlighted. That's brilliant. And it's very true, Catherine, because and this is where too, recognizable, clean turns on edges, especially on exit. Right, entrance and also exit, right? Exit is a big one too, right? If it's too short. So that's where, of course, that's going to be huge when we go into this a little bit more. Very,
Yes.
very well put.
Yes, very well put.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you guys my key to how I think about that for all choreography. The idea is that it must be readable. It must be readable. So let's say Ben has left me a little note at home, okay? And he wrote down in his mind, right? He wrote down, please pick up milk on the note. Okay? Got it? Now I come home, I see the note, and let's just pretend he kind of scribbled it and I can't read the note. Have we communicated? No. So even though I really like him and I really want to help him out, and I can't wait to help him with what's written on this note, unless it's readable, there's no communication. So unless someone can walk into the rink and go, oh, wow, nice deep choctaw there, then it's not readable. So I always ask the athlete, is this readable, right? And sometimes we do demos and stuff like that. Like I will show them kind of a sloppy little turn, right? Or I'll show them a good one. Okay, great. And then, or I'll film them. And then I'm saying, all right, you watch, you see if it's readable. Or sometimes we go in groups, which is super fun. I love teaching turns in groups because people feed off of each other, right? But we watch each other's step sequence, and I get the skaters to be the judge or the technical caller, and they have to yell out as many turns as they can in real time. It's hilarious. They're like, rocker, counter, choctaw. It's really cool, right? And it shows the skaters each other's work, not to compare, but just to go, is it readable? I'm not judging it. I'm just going, can I recognize it? Can I identify it, right? So you want to have each turn as identifiable as a jump would be, right? Oh, that was an axel. Got it. It obviously took off forward. It landed backward. It did a rotation and a half in the air. Oh, that was an obvious bracket on the right forward outside edge, which turned to the right back inside edge. So that's the concept here. Readability, right?
Well, that's why I don't write you notes anymore. Just
no, the texting
right?
is magical. The texting is
texting's great. Anyway, that's all. I'm not going to go there. But.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. So I hope this is landing for you guys. These are really, really key concepts. Now, let's go back to that foundational idea. So I'm gonna show you. Now we have a little bit of context, right? We know it's a game. We know that we want readability. We know that we're building a foundation, right? So here's the thing. You're not going to be able to do all of this quickly. It's going to take time. But you know what's really fun is building from level B. I love the level B step sequences because, actually, wait a minute. That optimized, just making sure.
Yeah, for sure. Optimization is key.
All
We're going to go to level basic.
We're going to go to level basic. So let me make sure I am sharing. And again, sharing is caring. Let us know in the chat.
See any video?
If you can see this video. Really hoping you can.
Oh,
yep,
perfect. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm so glad so many people I know so well on here. Thank you guys. I didn't really look through all the attendees because I was so busy getting prepared for you. So here we go. This is a level basic footwork, okay? And you'll see that I'm not doing clusters of difficult turns yet, but there may be a difficult turn here or there so she can develop her skating, okay? So here we go. Okay, awesome. she always sells it. Oh man, I love that recording so much. It's really cool. So way back in here, right? She just come out. That's an example of something that was a little more difficult, right? That we included. You can see it's in a developmental stage. If I tried to do that twizzle with her right into a rocker or something like that, it wouldn't really go over very well for her at that stage of her development, right? So I hope everyone can see that. Back it up a little bit. Oh, sorry, back it up this way a bit more, right? So let's just talk to Choctaw. Okay, so that was another moment, right? Left forward outside Choctaw, one of my favorite developmental tools. Now, is it the deepest Choctaw of all time yet? No, but guess what? She's learning how to work with it. She's learning how to do that, right? So there we go. That is the first little video example, okay? So see, in the chat, put down anything you noticed about that step sequence, okay?
One thing that I actually noticed about that one too, and why I love level B so much as a developmental tool.
Yeah.
Whether it's star 6, you've got the option of spiral or step sequence, or in Juve, the step is required at level basic, yeah. Right? Is the music. We can really train them to use the music a little bit more because, again, we may throw a couple of the more developmental turns in there, but it's getting those highlights on the music that I think is a really good developmental tool for them. So just throwing that out.
That is really well said. That is really well said, Ben, because music is something that, and integrating it, as you're saying in level B, if we don't integrate it at the beginning, that it's important and that it is a layer of the artistry of the footwork, it's really hard to implement it later on, right? Because it is such a technical element and the skaters may be too focused on the turns to sell what they're doing for their performance. So I'm really glad you brought that up for the musical interpretation.
And we've got a couple of great comments that, just went along that track. It said, Phallus said, matched the music well. It worked with her level of development, so it had good flow. I tend to agree with that. It's always hard to watch skaters do footwork sequences where they can't quite do yet in their development. And I agree with you. And so it lacks the musical flow and music. I agree 100%. And it was a very well put comment. Also, even though it was simple, right? She really sold it to the audience. And I agree. Sometimes simplicity has magic, especially at level basic. If we're maybe going for simplicity and musicality, there is a GOE aspect to that I think it's a 1.5, right? I mean, that's what it was on the scale.
Let's pull it up.
I believe
pull it
so.
up.
So I mean, but there is that GOE aspect, and part of it too is getting everything on the music and the performance. So anyway, I just thought that I agree with both those comments, especially with that example. So
actually, I don't have that chart available right now.
1.5.
Okay, so we're gonna go with Ben's opinion, 1.5. We know that level 4 is 3.9, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 3.3 for level 3, right? So what else? Steps to look at developmental turns that they can do with flow and music that helps clarify for me whether or not to put it in. Yes, here's the thing. Great point, Jordy. So here's the deal. If you want, right, you can have a harder version of their step sequence in the background that you're working on in practice. Okay, I've done that many times when I had a level B skater, meaning juvenile, right? So they're up to level B. The one that we show in the solo, like what you just saw, was like, yeah, that was awesome. That was so musical, da 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 da. In the background, of course, I'm working ahead a little bit at home with maybe like an advanced footwork that they're just doing. It's not even with music maybe, but it's working those turns. Or maybe even I'm developing a new program that is like short program or something like that, that they're going to be skating into. So it's not that I'm not developing those things, but the thing you want to show the judges is the thing they can do well, right? We talk about that a lot. I'm sure you're pulling up those points.
I'm trying to, because I hate it when I think it's on the top of my head. And of course, you know.
Well, that's okay. While you're doing that, we're going to watch another level B and just see if we can understand. All right, actually, right here.
Yeah, 1.50.
Yeah, 1.5. Okay, exactly. So we are going to share our screen. We're going to do this skater. I have so many videos examples. It was really fun to relook at these. And I know you guys have been on the webinars before and seen some of these ideas, but looking at it from a more choreographic perspective, and now you can think about it from a technical perspective a little bit as well. Can you see the screen? Hope so.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Okay, awesome. Great. All right, so this I'm going to play right from the element preceding it because I want you guys to see how the footwork started and played with pattern and was created right out of the other element. So here we go. Okay, cool. All right, guys. So what do we have in there for difficult turns? We had 4 difficult turns that were building up in that level B, right? What were they? Did anyone notice them right away? Let's see.
Very good.
Right foot inside twizzle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys are good.
Rockers and counters. No loop. Nope, no loop, but yes, rockers and counters.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
That was there.
Right foot inside bracket. You
Yep.
got it. Yep. Now the twizzle might have looked like a loop because it was not as developed as it's going to be later on, right? So I'll give you that. Yeah.
Good stuff, guys.
Now, did anyone notice how with the framing of the step sequence, I also was trying to give her time to do each turn. There's no rushing, right?
There was a chalk there.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's developmental, right? You're trying to get the skater to feel confident and be able to perform it really well, right? So let's play it one more time for you guys if you didn't see what you wanted to see as far as the turns, because I know there's lots to watch in a footwork sequence, especially when it's musical and so on. So I understand that. All right, let me back that up for you guys. All right. So here we go. One more time. Try to make it a little bit bigger. it is a left forward inside mohawk. Yeah. So you can tell a couple things here. I'm not stretching the skater yet, right, into having to do all the difficult changes of direction yet, right? So not doing that yet. All the stuff is on her right foot so far. Guess what? That was a developmental thing as well, right? And then left foot is going to come into play later. So you can see why we're creating this in layers, like we've mentioned so many times in the choreography webinar as well, okay? All right, so super fun, super fun. I want to share my other screen with you guys.
And that's why level basic is a lot of fun, because I think the emphasis is, again, trying to get a couple of those in, but also musicality. That's a huge opportunity in the beginning, is to start to really get them to feel and get them to understand being on the music and the musicality and performing the step sequence. I think that's a huge opportunity. My opinion when watching the development of the level basic.
100%, 100%. And you said the key word, perform. It's got to be something that the skater can actually perform, right? So that is something that doesn't go away. Even at an international level, if your skater is not able to perform it well, then you're going to lack in the GOE, you're going to lack in the second mark, right? So that's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a major challenge.
It's all tied together.
Yes.
All of it.
Okay, I'm showing you guys, I took the document from the ISU and I put it all on one page because I find flipping through is kind of annoying. I'm sure you guys have similar opinions, and it's not that it's annoying for the person putting it together, but the person trying to use the document, which is us. But right in here, we've got our updated levels, so that's this year, right? And I want you to notice that, yes, we have that, oh, sorry, it highlights the whole thing. It's because I'm on PDF, I guess. But right in here, minimum variety for level 1, simple variety for level 2, level 3, level 4. So that's the idea of climbing the ladder, of adding the difficult turns as you go, okay? Now, curiously, they don't have in this year's document the amount of turns, so I guess we're just supposed to know that from last year. So it's good to maybe like look at last year's and this year's, but understanding that as you're adding, this quality, to Kathy's earlier point, still has to be there. You still have to be able to see the depth of edge in and out of each turn. You still have to be able to identify each turn. Each turn has to be readable, right? So you want to, again, load the program with what they can do, not what they can't do, okay? So as a developmental thing, right, looking at how the skater's developing, think of if I skipped over that idea of vocabulary and we just went, okay, I'm just going to teach you, like in juvenile, I'm just going to teach you, one type of rocker or one type of cha-cha, and not try to develop that. It's not going to work that well, right? So I hope that's landing for you guys. Again, I'm trying to create like simple context for you, but we're going to go into the GOE in a minute, but let's watch another video because videos are so much fun. All right, Ben, what do you think?
No, I agree. And it's good to always have that context too when building it, because like I think Kathy mentioned earlier, the clearer the skater makes the turns and the movements and getting on the music, obviously you're going to be, the TS is going to be watching it, and the assistant TS, maybe the assistant TS is doing rotation direction, but they're going to be watching it going, the clearer it's made, the more obvious it is, obviously you get credit for that certain amount of turns, right?
Yes. So our first example was a U12 juvenile, and the next example is a U14. So although we're still in level B, you're going to see the difference in level as far as variety of turns. You're going to see also a different amount of directional change. I'm starting to build that into this intentionally. Let us know in the chat if you can see that video, please, just to make sure before I start it for you guys. Let me know if you can see it. It's on screen. Great. Thank you. You guys are so good. You're also going to see now what I've started to do is, remember I talked about having in the background some of that harder stuff in the works. So for this skater now, her background stuff was clusters and so on, and we're now pulling them into the juvenile level, even though they're not required for level B. I'm trying to get her to be ready for pre-novice. So this is like that push into, okay, I would call it like level B plus, right? Where we're now adding some features of difficult turns that we're gonna need in the future, okay? All right, so I'm gonna play this right now and we're gonna check it out. Everybody's got a feeling that is something you want. Feeling All right, cool. So hopefully we have that easily visible for you guys on the screen. What are we having for comments here, Ben?
Okay, well, we've got one actually from, I think it's more of a question there from Catherine. Do you feel that clusters of turns are so tight that the skaters do not get the calls for each of the turns? That's a good question. Again, it depends on how it's executed, right? And it depends how much lean and taking their time they do on each. Would you kind of agree with that?
I'm not sure I understand. So that they're so tight?
Yeah, like read that. Do you feel the clusters of turns are too tight that the skater's not getting calls for each of the turns?
No, I don't think so.
Depends how it is, right? Like if it's too flat, of course, right? It has to have the roll on the edge. And
I mean, there's there's two sides to that. One, yes, go back to the readability thing. It has to be readable. It has to be strong. The edge has to be clear. But it's kind of like watching a quad jump. You have to have an eye for it too, right? So if I watch a quad with somebody who never watches figure skating, they're going to go, whoa, how many times have they turned? Whereas you can see the difference between a quad and a double or a triple and a single really quickly and easily because you're trained, your eye is trained to watch. So I would say that, you know, a good caller should be able to see turns, even if they're done quite quickly, as long as they're done well. Now, we haven't talked about, and I'm glad you brought up the clusters, and that's sort of a slang term, right, guys? Clusters is a slang way of saying those 3 difficult turns back to back without change of edge in between, right, or change of foot. Now, in order to get that bullet, which we'll talk about later on, that feature, you need to have one on each leg. Now, some people think you have to turn both directions. No, you have to have one on each leg, at least for right now. What's up?
No, it's all good. And so it just they add to that. So close together that they would tend to rush. Would it not be better to space them out? It may. It totally may, depending on skater. Absolutely. It may.
Are you talking about, hold on, you may be talking about having the clusters like the 2 clusters back to back too tight? Or are you talking about, yeah, that's the part I'm not sure.
We'll get that as well.
Okay, but let's talk about the rhythmic knee action, because that is a requirement of those clusters, right? Is that rhythmic knee action. So the reason that's in place is so that you're not kind of cheating and taking longer time to set up one of the turns in the cluster. So it's 1 and 2 and 3, right? That's the idea. Okay. So now, oh yeah, you love the program. That's so awesome. Yes, it's super fun. So did anyone notice that she had 2 clusters in there? Speaking of clusters, right? Let's go back to it. We'll come back to Kathy's next comment in a second. Where are we going?
Everybody's got a feeling that's something you want. Feeling such a new thing, feeling starting on
there. Ready? 1 and 20. Second cluster.
Romeo.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to stop share that. We'll go back to the big screen. All right. So this is where people get a little bit excitable and trying to think of everything at once. So before I answer the questions, let me just say that those clusters are in there. Now, would they be called 100% in a pre-novice category? Did she get all of the turns clean? You need to have, again, the magical 6 turns, 3 on each foot clean. I would say debatable on the first cluster. It's a little bit flat, but again, it's a developmental category. It's a category B. So I'm trying to show her development, and they're pretty good. They obviously get better as the skater gets stronger and their development comes along. But that's what I'm trying to show you guys in layers here. All right, Ben, I'm gonna let you read out the stuff and then I'll respond.
There's another one from Cheryl. It says, what do you think the idea of developing body before clusters, since clusters tend to be harder to achieve consistently?
I'm okay. The reason I'm stumped a little bit is I'm going to be totally honest. About 6-7 years ago, body was given a lot more, and I've seen it really drop off. Even internationally, I've seen a lot of the body movement we used to see just start to dissipate. And it's like, it's not as clear. It's not as clearly defined. So I haven't found them giving body movement very consistently. It seems to be very regional. And so there's that. So that's where the clusters are like that one thing in footwork that are now very clearly defined. So that's why I like working on them, because I feel like they're rewarded when they're done well, more consistently than the body movement feature is rewarded. However, as you'll see, like even in the footwork I just showed you, I'm developing them congruently and cohesively together, right? There's going to be body movement in the footwork, no matter what, like just because it's artistic and it's also that second mark. But I think that's something you're going to develop at the same time as the clusters, because they're going to need those clusters. And I think that I could see them just taking body movement right out. Like, I don't know. They haven't done it yet, but it's probably the most, like, second most gray area right now. So yes, I develop it. I believe in it. I love watching skaters that can move their body while they're turning and so on. But I wouldn't say that I would develop that first and then clusters. It would be like more doing the cluster development and that along with it. I hope that answers your question.
And yeah, we'll watch that when the video's on. It's hard to hear talking. So appreciate the feedback, because again, your guys are on the receiving end of it, and we are doing, you know what I mean? So that's good. We'll try to minimize that. So it's all
I'm
good.
gonna shut up when the video's on. Thank you. Good point. No, good to know. I do get excited, so that's that. All right, cool. So let's go back to, sorry, Juliet, but we're done with your program there. All right, I want to make sure that I show that context again for you guys. So let me share that with you guys. I'm going to share this with you. So as a coach, right, or as a skater, once you've developed your vocabulary, sorry, I was skipping over the middle of that word, vocabulary and foundation, and you can do the amount of compulsory steps that are needed in your level. Now there's a multi-directional skating comes into play, right? So this is the foundation of what you're trying to create with the skater. And this is what it's called as far as getting rewarded, is that a third of the pattern is rotating clockwise and a third is rotating counterclockwise. Now, this is interesting, right? The way that I watch for this is literally as I'm watching, I will count how many times on my fingers. This is how I do it. My right hand is clockwise rotation. My left hand is counterclockwise rotation. So I will stand and watch the step sequence. And by the way, watch it from the point of view of the judges. Don't be standing in the corner because it'll get you all confused, okay? And what they mean by rotation is a full body rotation. So if I'm doing, right, if I stand up, so I'm here, a full clockwise rotation versus a full counterclockwise rotation, okay? And I'm counting them on my fingers. So I'll watch the skater and I'll go up, clockwise, boom. All right, counterclockwise, boom. And I'm hoping to get even fingers by the end of the sequence. So Ben, any thoughts on that, or does it just kind of make you go, you deal with it?
No, but it's very true. And I mean, one of the things from the technical standpoint is, for me personally, and this is what I do, because I do, you know, we have to do this as a team today. It's too sophisticated. I'm too busy on jump rep, run throughs, you know, getting things on. So that's where I delegate a lot of this, but also what I do is video them. Send a lot to different TSs out there. Okay, because I want the feedback too, what they know in their thing to go, okay. But also, I don't always get the same answers, right? I get maybe different answers of things. So I try to kind of go to the common ground of what is and go, okay. And also there are some TSs that I know really see it the way I think that should be seen. So I go, okay, I agree with that. But that's the thing, right? Like it's very, so I do that because I do feel that that's very important to, after you put this together and say there's a rule change, well, hey, like, I've got to do that. So I send it out a lot to a lot of different people, but I try and get the middle ground of, okay, that makes sense. You know, that's where we go from there. So.
Absolutely. And you know, that's the thing, right? Like nobody is going to have all the answers because it's a changing thing, right? I mean, imagine they change the takeoff of the axle every year, right? There would be different interpretations of it, of how to do it. So there are different interpretations of these features. And I've seen it many, many times, even the same panel back to back, you know, with two skaters. I'm going, okay, this or this. So we're all doing our best. And you know what? We're all human. We all love skating. We all love watching skating. And we want to see it done well. So that's always the goal when I'm working with an athlete, when you're working with that athlete, when we're trying to create these things, again, to the point of, I don't remember who said it earlier, but is the skater able to do it well? They look like they're flowing, they're having fun, they're being creative on the ice, and it happens to be during the footwork sequence, right? So that's an important thing, right? So why don't we take one more step sequence and check it out? I won't talk during the video. Thank you for the heads up. But you choose before you watch this. Are you going to watch for clusters? Are you going to watch for body movement? Are you going to watch for direction, rotation? Or are you just going to try to see as many turns as you possibly can? And then have that as your goal and then see what you see, okay? Make sure you guys can see that. Open the chat here. We got her on the screen. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right. All right, so that's the end of that step sequence. And that was also, you guys know, was in a star 7 event. So
Yeah.
she was in a developmental stage towards a pre-novice short, right? Or a star 9 short. But at that exact moment in time, it was a level B event. So she would have gotten more points for the second mark of the step sequence than for the step sequence itself. However, I think it's a really good example. So what did you guys look for? What did you guys check out there? I'm so curious. What did you look for? What did you notice? Trying to hopefully give you guys a context to look at footwork that is helpful and makes it easier to understand. So pop it in the comments there. And while we're doing that, I'm going to pull up that GOE chart because that is where we're going next.
That's where we're going next.
Situation.
The GOE.
And the GOE, yeah. We're going to the GOE then. All right, what's in the chat? Oh, I think I wasn't. Sorry. You look for rotation.
Oh, good.
Awesome. Do you think she would have gotten that feature? Do you think she had enough rotation clockwise and counterclockwise for a third and a third and a third? 7 and 8. Awesome. So probably, right? She probably would have gotten that feature, I would think.
You know, Sarah Coles, you might have to be on the panel one day. You're pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. You should go on the panel. Oh, absolutely. We need more skaters involved. Absolutely. Yeah. You want to?
Well,
yay!
You know, you're going to be very good. I mean, you know, I'll definitely send stuff to you. You're good.
Yeah, we can send you videos and be like, Sarah, tell us about this. That would be so fun. It'd be so fun. Awesome. All right. Well, while you guys are putting your thoughts in the chat, I just want to go back to this idea of the positive GOE versus the GOE errors. Okay. So did anybody notice that in this exact instance, there was a little stumble, right? Mm-hmm. Down here, there's a little stumble, right? So that may affect her score. However, I think up here, if you look at the positive GOE, right? And tell me if you guys can see this. I hope that you can see what I'm seeing. If not, let me know. Give me a Y in the chat. But we kind of end up memorizing these things anyways, right? So first 3 positive GOE things. Number 1, deep edges, clean steps, and turns. I think for the level, definitely, right? We had some good stuff. Number 2, element matches the music. I mean, I'm way too biased, but that was our intention, was to match every single ounce of that music. Effortless throughout with good energy, flow, and execution. I think she had moments of effortless, but of course, if you have a stumble, then that's not going to be awarded, right? So let's pretend, let's say the judge was watching, judge number 5 is watching, and they're going, wow, I really like how this element matches the music. Oh man, I think I'm going to be at a +1 for this element. And then, oh, we got a little stumble, and that says -1 to -3. So maybe they start at a +1, but they'll give a -2 for the stumble because it was kind of in front of the judges. They end up, let's say, at a -1 overall, right? So that's kind of what they're looking at. They're going, all right, where am I in positive territory? And where do I have to deduct a little bit here? You want to add anything to
Well,
that?
no, but also that's true. And I think that's a good way to validate that. I mean, you got those bullets right there. And just so that everybody knows, those 3 bullets must be there before even the 4, 5, and 6 of those bullets are even considered. So those are basically, they have to be there, right? So, but what I would also say is, yeah, it might start out, okay, deep edges, clean steps and turns, element matches the music. Okay, this is good. Oh, there's a stumble, so I'm down to -2. But then guess what? It kind of builds up again. So it might be base value. I mean,
It
why
might
not?
be,
It might be
yeah.
base value. So you don't, that'll be up to the official to decide where they'll put that GOE. But because again, you can redeem yourself if you do the rest of the criteria that's listed on that GOE bullet points. So you can.
100%.
It's not over till it's over.
It's not, no. And here's the thing. And I don't know how many times I have talked to skaters about this and tried to help them understand it. If you're a skater, this will take a lot of pressure off of you. Here's the deal. Let's say a skater is a pre-novice skater and they've done a short program and they've been awarded 25 points, right? Normally, about half of that will come from your technical score. About half of it will come from your second mark. Let's be really conservative. Let's play super conservative that they got 15 on the top mark, the technical score, and only 10 on the bottom. Let's just say, all right? In a short program, the amount of time it took you to do that footwork is likely about 42 seconds, okay? So really, really, really quick at anywhere at 39-ish, and sometimes up to about 48 seconds. Now, if you add the 40, 42, 48 seconds onto your opening of your solo before you do your first jump or spin element, that's about a minute, right? So guess what? You're getting probably more than half your bottom mark, literally your PC mark, from your step sequence. So that's at least, even conservatively, 5 points. 5 being conservative from the second mark that you received while you were doing your step sequence. So someone's freaking out, oh my gosh, I did not get my level 3, which is worth 3.3. You still get almost double that on the second mark. So selling the step sequence, being creative, being original, as you saw with some of the moments of the athlete matching the music, it all counts, it all matters. It's so adding up on your second mark. Take a little bit of pressure off. I hope that helps. Throw your thoughts in the comments, guys.
Well, I mean, just to add to that, it goes back to skating skills again, because that's the foundation of the program components. So skating skills will equal the turns, right? Will equal, obviously you have more balance, so you can do more body movement. Also, guess what? You probably have a better opportunity to be on the music anyway. So it all goes back to that foundation. It all goes right back there. What kind of foundation is there? So
Yeah.
Obvious 1 and obvious 2, right?
Absolutely.
It's just nice to mention the 1 and 1 once in a while.
It is.
Yeah.
Now, and here's another layer to it is anyone that you see that's doing a really, really strong step sequence, they're practicing it. They practice it a lot. Don't kid yourself. Nobody's just born doing rockers and counters and chalk does and stuff because it's not really natural. It's something you develop, you learn, you create, you grow into, okay? So, do we have any questions?
Maybe in the Q&A, I have one more questions in the chat today, it looks like. But
That can mean 2 things. 1, I'm not doing the best job. Or 2, I'm actually answering the question that you had in your head and you're not typing it in. So not sure either way, but I love this discussion. I hope it's helpful for you guys. So if you do have a question, please put it in the chat. And I want to show you another video.
and we'll be quiet, okay? Because we want to hear the music. Got it.
Absolutely. All right. Whoop. I'm trying to make it bigger for you guys a little bit bigger.
You're a Mac person, aren't you?
I know. I know. All right. All right. Throw that in the chat. Can you see her? You having fun? Trying to make sure we're still live. Yes.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
That feeling that you're like, uh-oh. All right. So I'm going to share this. I'm not going to tell you anything about it. See what you see.
Face it all together, let the sky fall. When it crumbles, we will stand tall. Face it all together, let the sky fall. Let the sky fall. We'll
this into the final spin. All right, guys, testing time. What did you see? What did you notice? What did you notice in that step sequence? What were you watching for? What did you see? How about Ben? It's been a while since you've seen it, hey?
Okay. Well, first of all, when I see that, I see, because I know what was developed on that for a few years of development, more seasoned pre-novice skater. Okay. I see very clear turns. Okay. Very clear direction, very clear turns, very precise. So that makes it easy for the TS to go, okay, rocker, okay, count, twizzle. But you can see a lot of, and again, body, there's that there too. So, because they're clear, you can obviously add on top of that layer, right? And that's, again, took a good season 2, season to be able to create that.
Oh, that took a lot of work.
Yeah,
a lot of work.
But that's just what I saw. So.
All right, right foot and left foot cluster. Lots of body movement, good direction. Whoa, Sarah, you just speak the lingo. I love it.
You're on fire.
So on fire. Kathy, I know your hand's up. Can you throw it in the chat? Just because I never know how to work the hand up thing. So just throw something in the chat, okay? It's just easier because I'm not sure how to do it. What pattern was it? So it technically was kind of a straight line pattern, but the pattern doesn't matter anymore. It just has to cover the ice.
Mm-hmm.
So the pattern was definitely full ice. We tried to make it really zigzaggy, kind of like the music. That was the whole artistic layer. She had very good body movement and connection. Her turns were also clear. Awesome. Yeah, I agree. 2 twizzles, 2 loops, 3 counters, 3 rockers. Yeah.
You guys are good. You guys are getting it.
Love her commitment and loops.
But I think just that particular example, there's a lot of saying, yeah, the turns were really clear because they're very identifiable. Once that's there, then that's okay, fine. Now we build upon, say, if we're looking for the body, rotation, all the rest of that, that's there. So
yeah. Awesome. Chitrakta just needs to have the time in the program to do big patterns. And the speed. She was skating pretty quick. Yeah, absolutely. But if you start timing, like time the amount of time it takes your athletes to do step sequences, you're going to start to get a rhythm and understand how long these things take. And like I said, the average, like between 42 and 45 is like a level 3 kind of average-ish lately. I have one athlete, we have this one step sequence that's like 35 seconds. I don't even understand. It's just really short. And it has all the stuff in there, but guess what? She's gotten better with her edges. She's gotten deeper, stronger, quicker. So that happens too. But some step sequences are really long as well, right? 100%. How are we doing on time? Oh my goodness, 4 minutes left.
It's amazing, and just like we get into something and we have the content layout, then it's
the hour flies
almost an hour flies by. It's amazing. So
just check my notes, make sure I kind of went over everything.
And that particular one example was a level 3, right?
Yeah, yeah.
For pre-novice category. Yes, absolutely. It was called that particular day.
Yes, yeah. And that athlete worked her buns off to get there. But yeah, it was a level 3 for sure. Let's just quickly go back to, do we have anything else here added on? Have to be efficient, jumping to allow time for long. Yeah, but really, in a short program, there's time for it. There's time. You only have your 3 jumps.
Well, we got the 6 boxes and say pre-novice or that too.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's time for it. Where it's tricky is the long program. Is
now.
Yeah, the free program. Okay, so that's maybe what you're talking about, Brenda. Yeah,
Mind
you're
you,
thinking long. Exactly.
I'm just talking about pre-novice per se, but like that's where that spin out was so good because it gave us time to put the step, which was good.
100%. And yeah, that is, I agree with long. Yeah, it's you have to be able to kind of gauge where can you save time as well, right? And that's like a whole nother webinar, but time savings within choreography pieces is a whole idea, like getting, shortening up your transitions, for example, and getting creative. Okay, we're gonna go back to this chart. So right here, do you see how the vocabulary, the turns are going to build into the ability to then turn clockwise and counterclockwise, which is what is rewarded there. Body movement is that layer above that. And Cheryl, I really, you really made me think with that, should we develop the body movement before clusters? I kind of think they're a together thing, but the clusters are going to be really, really important. And the rhythmic knee action, I can't stress that enough, that's what really defines that cluster, right? And they're fun. They're really fun, but they do take time. They do take practice. And as you saw, once you get some speed and development, they're really exciting. So that's when I say there's a difficulty and a volume of turns and steps. As you can see, the whole entire step sequence is now, from looking at that little girl at the beginning to going bigger and better later on. It's really noticeable how many steps and turns are done like in a novice or a senior step sequence, right? All right, so I have a really fun just thing about the GOE, right? When the program where it says in the step sequence that it must match the music, I often think, all right, how do we announce that it's now the step sequence? All right, so I have the most fun example for you guys.
Well, also that's why you hand in your program content sheet. Okay, and this is very
Good
important,
point.
is because a TS could totally, or assistant TS could totally miss that, or the data input, because that's why that's important. It's going to be coming up, and it's an element, right?
That's
so that's
right.
why that's a main reason why you put them in there. So
That's right. So can you guys all see her? She's now not in the pink dress anymore, but now a little more grown up. We did pink and mint. Yes, you got it. Okay, awesome. All right, so this is one of my favorite announcements of a footwork that I've ever had the pleasure to create. Okay, how fun was that? Right? The announcement, the Russians push up, I'm here, it's footwork time. Anyways, I thought that was a really fun way to end our hour. Also, it's obvious that she's still in development. Guys, this takes years to develop, but you can hopefully see the improvement from the first routine into this routine, and where she's developing, you have the same chalk die in there. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but she's getting better, right? Yeah. Oh, she made it look like she's living her dream. Aw. Yeah, huge improvement. I agree. She is, you're right, that effervescence, that fun, that creativity is there. So, Ben, any closing thoughts from you?
But you know what? Just thank you guys for attending, because when we thought, to building this, it was kind of a, wow, this is a really big conversation, because there's so many things that I personally thought who better to deliver it, but at the same time, we really appreciate you guys coming in to join us, because it is something that's ongoing, but it is something that is a layered aspect, and that we wanted to at least begin that conversation at the beginning of that. And hopefully that gave you guys some value and gave you guys something to work towards on the application and implementation of your skating success. So we just hopefully, wanted to send that out to you guys. Any closing thoughts for you too?
I just want to encourage you guys to have fun with it. I know it's like you're trying to get points and all that, but please, please, please have fun with that. That's why I'm wearing my party shirt. That's why I called it Jeu de Pied. Even if you don't speak French, it's a game. Create your most fun skating, especially now we really miss skating. Let's get back on the ice and have fun with footwork. And I can't wait to hear you guys. You can always email us, skatingsuccess@gmail.com if you want, or just DM us on any of the platforms, and we're happy to connect with you again. So
thank you guys.
Look at all these awesome
Yeah,
notes.
and you guys are amazing. Thank you for all this. This is great. Really appreciate it. So until you're skating success, everyone, and until next time. Continue the glide with the nicest stride.
That's
all I got.
nice. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have an amazing weekend. And here's to your skating success.